Guys, what is up? It is Greg here with another video about vinyl and music. So this is the special birthday edition because in the last couple of weeks we celebrated my birthday, and all the records I'm going to show you today are a result of either birthday presents or birthday shopping. It's been a busy couple of weeks, couple of months here since I've done a lot of videos with you guys. We saw Wilco in Los Angeles about a month ago. That was nice with Nels Cline going crazy on guitar. We saw, who else? Oh, my son and I saw Pat Metheny play a solo guitar concert at UCLA Royce Hall last week, which was brilliant. And then my son just got tickets for he and I to go see Devo. That's coming up in about a couple of weeks. And I got a bad haircut also in the last week, so sorry you have to see that. So let's look at some of the records, some of which we, well, here's what I did. My son and I spent the day today musicking together because down here, not too far from my house, there's Norm's Rare Guitars, there's a cool record store across the street, there's a pizza place I like across the street, and the Goodwill right there in Tarzana, California. So we hit all those things and spent the day doing that father and son birthday thing, kind of cool. And my record store that I go to a lot, for the first time, had a sort of decent dollar bin. They've always had stuff for $1, but it's like a collection of stuff, kind of classic 70s stuff. So for example, I'll show you some of them. Here's one. I'm going to go through some of the dollar ones and through some of the more expensiver ones. My son grabbed this, and a classic Jufro from the 70s, just Garfunkle. And I love that they made a hype sticker that just says Garfunkle. It doesn't say the new record from Garfunkel, it just says Garfunkel. And so obviously a solo record, Garfunkel without Simon, except Paul Simon is on here, and there's a lot of good players on here, believe it or not. J.J. Cale, Jerry Garcia, Paul Simon, bass player called Radel from Derek and Dominoes, Tommy Tedesco, the greatest session guitar player of all time. Who else? There's somebody else I wanted to show you on here. Of course, I can't see. Hal Blaine, another session player, and Larry Carlton. There's a lot of LA session players on here, and 2 Jimmy Webb songs. All I Know being, I guess, the closest thing to a hit. For $1. You can't. Oh, you know what else is? This thing's got a wacky poster that, who would hang this in their wall? But it's art, and I guess his producer. It folds out, big picture of a church where they recorded some of this, I guess. Original poster and clean LP for $1. Okay, what else? Keep going, Greg. We've got. This was on my birthday list. Miles Davis, Workin'. And this, I think, was one of the first 2 releases that Prestige is now. They're jumping on the bandwagon of doing audiophile quality records and a craft recording, super ultra high fidelity. And Workin', you probably know Workin', Steamin', Relaxin', etc. were actually part of a Miles Davis contract obligation recording session. In other words, he was on Prestige, and then Columbia wanted to sign him, and they're like, well, Prestige, you still owe us 4 records, Miles, so he banged them out in 2 days, and they're classics. And John Coltrane, Red Garland on piano. The piano that Red Garland plays on the first tune, It Never Entered My Mind, is so classic. If somebody asks me, where do I start with jazz, and I want to show them something mellow, that's one of the songs I would say, hey, if you don't like this song, forget it, okay? It's a very mellow tune. Coltrane, Paul Chambers, Philly Joe Jones, so a classic. I have some of the other ones. I have Steamin', Relax, I don't know. I got 3 or 4 of them. They're must-haves, okay, for Miles Davis fans. They're must-haves. Okay, from the dollar bin, my son grabbed a Dave Clark 5 record. It's a bit scratched up. And I guess that's from the late 60s. And on Epic. And I don't know what tunes are on here. And there's no fun posters or anything. It's just epic. Dave Clark 5. You know, for $1. Why not? Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you buy that? Let me go for another. Oh, there's 2 more that have to be shown together. So let's see. I'm going to skip those 2 for now. On my birthday list, you guys don't know this artist probably. And I don't know if you pronounce his name Yousef Days or Yousef Days. He actually is half Jamaican, and mom and dad were Jamaican and English. So he's half and half. But drummer that's kind of very hot on the English jazz scene right now. And this is called Black Classical Music. Check out the fro, bro. We had the Jew fro, now we have the fro. And this is a 2-disc set. It's about 75 minutes long. There are special guests like Shabaka Hutchins. This record has gotten a ton of critical acclaim, a ton of praise from a lot of publications. It's kind of a spiritual and Afro jazz thing. It's pretty free. It's not like avant-garde crazy free, but I think it's maybe closer to Afro-Latin spiritual jazz. That's what I'm going to say. I don't think that's him. I don't know. Maybe. He's older now, and if that's him, he doesn't have hair or anything like that now. But, oh, this is on the None Such label. And you know None Such is very careful about how they curate artists and records. So, good quality stuff from a group you have not heard anything of, probably. Okay, now I have 2 records from the same era that we got out of the dollar bin. Okay. First, Jack Bruce. It's called Out of the Storm on RSO Records. Is it Roger Stigwood who did all those records from Cream and Clapton? And Jack Bruce, the late bass player from Cream. I don't know anything about this record, and I don't think anybody plays on it. Well, Jim Gordon and Jim Kelton are both playing it. You know, sort of standard dudes from that era, the Clapton group of people. But from the same era is somebody you should know, but you don't know, which is Rick Gretsch. Rick, he sometimes spelled his name with an R-I-C. None of this music that I could find was on Apple Music. So Rick Gretsch was sort of the journeyman bass player of a lot of those groups in the late 60s, early 70s. He was the bass player on Blind Faith and Traffic and Ginger Baker's Air Force. And then he had his own band prior to those called Family that I don't know anything about. But this is sort of a compilation of stuff from Rick Gretsch's career. It's got a couple tunes. Rock and Roll Stew from Traffic, you may have heard. Sea of Joy with Steve Winwood. But he was like a super well-known dude. He played on Eric Clapton's Rainbow Concert record. He was very much in that group of guys, but then he died of liver failure and alcoholism in his early 40s, so maybe that's why no one's heard of him. You've heard him. Maybe you haven't heard of him. Now you've heard of him. Rick Gretsch. Okay. Oh, another one from the dollar bin. The only classical one in the entire dollar bin was this one. I grabbed it. Pablo Casals. Is he on here? Yeah, Pablo Casals, kind of the greatest cello player of his day. This record, oh, by the way, there's a really cool booklet in here, which I didn't even notice until I got home. You know how they used to do in the old days with classical music, like give you like so many liner notes and analysis of the music and blah, 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 blah. This is from a series on Angel Records called Great Recordings of the Century, which is a marketing way of saying this is a really old record. This was freaking recorded in 1926. It's almost 100 years old. This obviously wasn't, because we didn't have LPs till more like 1950-ish. So all this was recorded on 78, but 1926 they just came out with electronic microphones. Anything prior to 1925 was the old, 78 RPM acoustic recording. So surprisingly good quality for 1926. And then they did an LP in 1957, which was probably 4 78s put together. So you got your Haydn trio and a Schubert trio. A trio is, of course, a piano, cello, and violin, I think. So vinyl's in great shape. Smells like it needs a good cleaning. Okay. Best for last was the thing that I've been wanting for months here. And everybody's jumping on the reissue classic jazz bandwagon, and Verve, no exception. They have so many great records. How about the great Pharoah Sanders, one of his classic records called Black Unity. I got Black Classical Music and Black Unity in the same video. The great sax player Pharoah Sanders, who just passed away recently, unfortunately. And this is considered one of his top 3 or 4 records. A period, I wish I knew the year, late 60s, I'm going to say, where he did 4 or 5 amazing records in a row. And this is one of his more highly regarded records. And who you got playing on here? Would you believe that Stanley Clarke is one of the 2 bass players on here? Cecil McBee, Norman Connors, I think, is a guitar player. Billy Hart is drummer. And also Latin-inspired, African, spiritual. It gets into the free jazz. There's only 1 tune on here. It's Black Unity, parts 1 and 2. I had to cut in half to fit on a record 37 minutes long. Very excited that my lovely family was able to get me this record for the birthday. Oh, there's another weird music gift. Beautiful Grado headphones that I've had for 20 years. You got to replace these pads. So my son found me some cheap replacement pads on eBay. Grados are great starter headphones. I mean, they make, $3,000 headphones, but the SR60s and SR70s are a good place to start. They don't look very hip by today's, they don't look as hip as Beats, do they? No, they're not hip at all. But Grado, made in America, fantastic headphones and record cartridges. What do you call it? Phono cartridges. And I think that's it for me today. Oh, we went to Enormous Rare Guitars yesterday and hung out and saw some good people playing. I'll post that on Instagram, some of the stuff that I saw at Enormous Rare Guitars. But other than that, that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. Let me know what's happening with you. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram. Don't forget to shout out to me if you have a new vinyl channel that I don't know about, because I want to follow all y'all's vinyl channels on YouTube and Instagram. Let me know what's happening with you guys. Talk to you soon. Oh, my finger. I'm looking for the button. There it is. Bye.